We simply ask, what are your concerns? What are the problems that you have in the neighborhood? What do you think needs to be done to improve your community? What can your council do for you at City Hall? And that's always been the way I have tried to operate as your city council person. Many of you see me not just here, but you've seen me at your neighborhood association meetings. Or if I haven't been able to attend, you've seen my staff people at your neighborhood association meetings. Again, listening, trying to be responsive to the concerns that people have. I just consider myself my advocate for you at City Hall. You know, I think that a city council person has about 3 or 4 special things they should be working on. And the first thing is that we are your advocates for whatever your problems or concerns are. That's why we need to be listening to you, and we need to go to City Hall and advocate for those. But also, you know, it's the city council that sets the policy and the direction that the city should be proceeding in. Now, just because a councilman sets policy as a group, it doesn't mean we order anybody around. We don't have that authority. We set policy. But part of that, setting that policy, is asking questions. Asking questions at City Hall as to why we need to do this, or why we can't do that, or how this can be done, so that we hopefully can come to an understanding of how we can do the improvements and the things that people expect in their community. But also, I'm a watchdog. It's up to me to hold the city accountable to you, so that as things are done in your name, and as I act in your name, you know that I'm watching to make sure we take care of your financial interests and your personal interests in your neighborhood. And so accountability is an important job that I think every councilman has. I happen to be the chairman of our accountability and auditing committee for the city. So I take that very seriously. So those are some of the goals that I have, the tasks that I'm responsible for as your city council person. But the most important one, I believe, is inclusivity, and making sure that your voice is heard, that we meet those concerns and those needs that you have, and that we're there for you as much as we can be to help you understand what are the things we can do, when can we do them, and sometimes what are the things that we really can't get to. Sometimes people ask us to do things that are your congressman's responsibility or your state legislator's responsibility. And so educating people about that is also part of my responsibility. The council was faced with a decision that we did not bring before ourselves. We did not go out and say we wanted to initiate a paid sick leave policy. That was initiated by 144,000 people who lived in the city of San Antonio or in Bexar County, and they brought it forward to us. So the city had only 2 choices: allow it to go on a ballot to be voted by the entire city, or for the city to go ahead and decide, we'll go ahead and initiate that as an ordinance. Now, most people might say, well, why didn't you just let the people vote on it? Well, because we knew that if we initiated it as a city ordinance, exactly the way it was worded, then we would be able to go ahead in 6 months and revisit that ordinance and make changes to it that we think could improve it. But if it went on the ballot and it was approved by the voters, the city council could never change it, and it would become permanent ordinance in the city of San Antonio. We decided that we would go ahead and pass it as an ordinance, and that way we can revisit it, and at the time it was passed, we put word out to the business community that we want more input. We want to understand what your concerns are about paid sick leave. But I'll tell you this, I don't personally believe that anyone should lose their job or not be able to be paid because they're sick, or their child is sick, or they have an illness in their family that they need to take care of. And I don't want any sick person coming to work and making me sick or the people around me sick. So I think it's the kind of policy we need to give a lot more consideration to and arrive at an understanding that we all can live with. And so I think that that's going to be the future of that policy.
Just to clarify that, the Green New Deal is a national.
That's more of a national effort, yeah. The Climate Action and Adaptation Plan has been discussed quite a bit recently, and I'll tell you, I've looked at the plan. It's 84 pages, that the original draft that we've received as council. I did not go to many of those meetings, but some of my staff did, so they kind of filled me in as it went along. I want you to know that the way it's written today, I do not support that climate adaptation and action plan. And that's because I think that there is a misunderstanding that we have as a council and that the community has, that this plan is going to go ahead and put some kind of mandates on the community, or that it's a plan that doesn't have a price tag. And no one should support any kind of a plan like that for the city. And so I've told the director of the project, I've told other city council people, I've told city staff that I will support a plan that tells us how much is it going to cost, what are all the strategies that are outlined in this plan, what are the details behind those strategies, what are the priorities of those strategies, what are the timeline for implementing those strategies, and be assured that there are no mandates that are going to force you to buy an electric car or going to force your utility bills to go up 50 or 100%. We need to have a valid plan that will accomplish the things that we need to do to protect our children and our grandchildren from any disasters that may occur in our environment over the next 40 or 50 years. There's still a lot of talk about whether or not the environment is going in the wrong direction. I believe it certainly is. But I think that as a city, if we're going to have a plan, it has to be one that makes perfect sense and that's well thought out. Now, if we want to support this climate action and adaptation project as aspirational, which suggests to us what we need to research and what we need to find the cost on and what we need to set a priority for, I'm willing to say yes. Let's go ahead and have that discussion and move that, and so that then the city can do the research and understanding of what all of the repercussions, the costs, the priorities should be as the plan unfolds over the future.
Thank you, John.
I want to let you know that District 9 did not receive less money in the last budget cycle. It received more money. But again, unless you're there looking at the budget, hearing those discussions, understanding how the money is getting spent, as a councilman, some things appear to be different than they really are. So I just want to let you know, I am for helping other areas of this city be lifted up to be as good and have as good a quality of life for the people there as we have here. I've told people from day one, I'm not just a councilman for District 9, although you come first. But as a matter of fact, the decisions we make at City Council affect everybody.